In 2010, I had done some college anthologies and knew something about how to go about structuring it and permissions and all that. And he said, "What do you think?" Now, here's a guy who's been in a unique business, collecting novels from local authors, getting them to autograph them and distributing them into hospital bookstores and elsewhere. And I mean, so he knew an awful and knows an awful lot of folks, and can ask to go up to them and say, "Would you, do an essay for the Mount Auburn book I have in mind?" And so he had a Zen rightness to be the editor of this book. This is before all the drudgery in 5 years of just do this kind of thing when things aren't going right. And he also, as has been said in the introduction, is fanatical about Mount Auburn Cemetery and his passion for it. He goes there every single morning at 6:45 when the guards open the gate. He spends more time there than some of the dead people. John is an avid birder. He has published his pictures elsewhere, and these are Kim's pictures up here. So perfect match for this book. John also has spent so much time there. He's gotten to know the animals on a first-name basis. There is Caesar and Serena Coyote and their son Blondie. The great horned owl couple Alexander and Roxanne. On the cover of the book is named by Kim is Ziggy, and Ziggy is Ziggy Owl Press is the name of the book itself, the publisher of the book itself. But I want to say something. Every Christmas, John sends Photoshop pictures of him with a bunch of owls and red-tailed hawks with Santa Claus hats on. This is not a Photoshop picture. This is he lured, he wooed, he talked the owl to land on this gravestone. And he's a regular Dr. Dolittle. He talks to the animals. So he was the right man for this job, and then he met with Kim, who was a phenomenal photographer and also shared the same passion for nature and for Mount Auburn Cemetery. And my own relationship with Mount Auburn goes back 45 years. It is a place of memorials, and it's a place of memories, and it's a place, an ending place for those in repose there. It was a beginning place for me. It's where I fell in love, and I wooed my wife, the one who was to be my wife. It sounds like an odd place, but romance in a graveyard sounds bizarre. But I was a young instructor at Northeastern University 45 years ago, and Kathy was an admissions officer at Northeastern, and she lived about a block away from Mount Auburn Cemetery, in that red brick block apartment complex just as you turn down Mount Auburn at the split with Star Market. And we used to go there with a jug of wine, a loaf of bread, and Armenian string cheese. And we had our favorite benches we used to sit at and talk and just enjoy the leafy walks down the different lanes. And we had a few other favorite haunts, and one of them was the classical structure of Mary Baker Eddy's tomb. It's fashioned after the temple of Athena in Delphi, Greece. And we used to sit there, and there was a story that Mary Baker Eddy, who founded the Christian Science Church, was buried with a telephone. Some of you are nodding, you remember that. And it occurred to us, why would she be buried with a telephone? Did she not trust her undertaker and fear that she would, have a premature burial? Or was she certain she could, dial from the other side and call friends? And could she dial without touchtone? And given the fact that she founded a Christian Science Church, which is a proponent of self-healing, was she going to rise up like a Lady Lazarus or kind of a pious zombie? We had a lot of fun, and of course, it's an urban myth or a graveyard myth. She was not buried with a telephone. When construction men were building the monument, building that beautiful colonnade, rotunda colonnade, there was a telephone nearby and would occasionally ring. But often we had a lot of fun with this. Just imagine we're sitting there eating our cheese and bread and drinking wine. and the phone rings and you hear a little thin voice, "Sorry, wrong number." So we had fun with that. So this different stages of our life began there. We romanced each other. I romanced Kathy. A few years later, our little boys, we would bring them there and they would duck waddle and chase after the Canada geese. And a few years after that, they'd go mucking in the Halcyon Lake for tadpoles and salamanders and frogs. Then a few years after that, we would hope to glimpse some of the animal life there, raccoons, foxes, groundhogs. And then we raised our sights up and saw birds, the owls and the red-tailed hawks. And then I took my son Nathan for biking lessons, and then a few years after that, Nathan and David for driving lessons. I think it's probably against the rules of Mount Auburn Cemetery, but we broke a lot of them then. I think you're allowed to drink wine in Mount Auburn. In any case, I am very grateful for that, and now Nathan is, in fact, he shares the same passion for birds and photography. Some of his photos, I'm very proud to say, are in this book. He's an award-winning photographer who has pictures in National Geographic and elsewhere. And he goes there now with his, like the many other photographers and birders there, with the industrial strength tripod and zoom lenses the size of baseball bats, as with John and Kim. And it is a place of memory. Kathy and I still go back. It's been 45 plus years. We still walk the leafy lanes and we still admire the monuments, but also it is a place of memory, back in our greener days of our prime and when our little boys were growing up. And so it's a place of memorial, it's a place of memory, and I thank John and Kim for letting me be part of this book, and I thank Sweet Auburn, you give death a good name. Thank you.